This is the Penoval A4 Pro, and is this a viable alternative to the Apple Pencil? Well, let's find out. Before we get into this review, I just want to say that Penoval sent me this stylus to review and to keep. I'm not getting paid by Penoval in any way, nor are they viewing this video before I upload it. These opinions are my own and they're not being filtered in any way. So what do you get when you buy this stylus? Well, you get the stylus. You also get some instructions. You get a USB-C to USB-A charging cable, and you also get 2 extra nibs. So you get 3 nibs total with this pen, and I think that's actually a pretty good start. 3 extra nibs is something that not a lot of these Apple Pencil alternatives come with. Normally they just come as is with 1, or sometimes they'll come with 1 extra one, but it's really good to get 2 depending on how quick these nibs might run out, especially if you're using something like a textured screen protector. So I want to get into the pros of this stylus first, and the first pro for me is that it feels really good in the hand actually. It's about half the weight of the Apple Pencil, so I'm not sure if that might be a pro or a con for you. That's actually just a personal taste thing. For me, it's a pro. It feels really nice, and it's not so light that it feels like you're drawing with nothing, but it's just heavy enough where it feels like it has a good amount of weight to it, but it's not heavy in any way. So if you have maybe a lighter touch when you're drawing or writing notes, you might like the stylus a bit more just because you're not going to be weighted down by your actual pen. My other pro is this really nice matte black finish. I like it a lot. It's not just black, it has a really nice texture to it, and it feels almost like it has a slightly rough texture, so it almost feels like papery in a way, and I really enjoy that quite a bit, especially since, especially if you're using like the Gen 1 Apple Pencil with the glossy texture on it. You know, that can feel kind of, it feels kind of weird when you're drawing with it, to be honest. They definitely improved that with the Apple Pencil Gen 2, and it feels very similar to that, except it's got this really slick matte black finish, and I enjoy that a lot. If Apple came out with a pencil that was colored matte black, you know I'd be first in line to buy that, but for right now, this is really, really nice. And my next pro actually has to do with the tip of this pen here. It might be hard to tell on camera, but I'll show you a closer view. It's actually a little bit more precise than the Apple Pencil's tip. The Apple Pencil tip is a bit more rounded on the end, but this one comes to almost a perfect point, and it's actually really nice to draw with and take notes with because you can really get very specific with where you put your lines down, and there's no discrepancy at all with where the line is going. It's super, super precise, so I really like that. And the last pro I have is the fact that this pen has full tilt support. So that means instead of just using something like a dummy stylus where you just basically are imitating your finger on the Apple Pencil screen, you're actually getting tilt recognition on this pen. So that means if you're using a brush in like Procreate that looks a certain way when you're drawing at 90 degrees, and then when you tilt it to maybe 45 degrees, you get a little bit of a gradient, or it might decrease opacity or anything like that. You'll get that full recognition, and it looks really nice and performs super well. Also, a quick little side note, I guess this does attach to the pros as well. I just thought of it though. The magnetic connection that this has to the top of the iPad is actually super strong. There is like no way you're gonna shake this thing off of the iPad. It's a super strong magnetic connection. So if security of your devices onto the iPad is a big deal for you, that's a major plus. And now we're gonna get to the cons of this Apple Pencil alternative, and there are a couple pretty big ones. One is not that big of a deal to me. The other one, the last one, is a pretty big deal. So the first con that I have is there is no wireless charging on this device. So when you plug it in or when you attach it to the top of your iPad, it's just there for magnetic connection and ease of use and convenience. It's not there for any type of wireless charging. You do have to charge it with a USB-C connection, which does charge super fast, and this pen does last a really long time. I forgot the specifics, but I'll put it somewhere in here and also in the description. But this could be a really big con for somebody if you're not always around a USB-C charger and you're concerned with always keeping a charge on your pencil. It definitely is a major inconvenience when compared to the way the Apple Pencil Gen 2 charges. You just slap it on the side of your iPad and it's charging. So it's definitely not as convenient, and it's it's a con, but definitely not as big of a con as our next con. And the biggest con with this Apple Pencil alternative, which unfortunately is the biggest con with most, if not all, Apple Pencil alternatives, is this does not have any pressure sensitivity. And it makes it very hard to recommend a device like this to artists unless you have a very specific need for what you're doing with your art. If you don't care about pressure sensitivity at all and you can get by with just tilt, absolutely perfect. If you're a student or anybody who takes notes on a regular basis, this is absolutely perfect. And if you don't need pressure sensitivity and you just want to take basic notes and have the occasional doodle and you want the tilt functionality and that's it, totally fine. And this is 100% valid, and I would honestly recommend this over the Apple Pencil if that specific use case is yours. But if you make any art on a regular basis, I can't recommend this. Because once again, there's no pressure sensitivity. So when you inevitably get to a stage in your art where you're trying to draw something that's a little more opaque, or you're trying to vary your line weight or do anything like that, relying on tilt alone is going to be very difficult and feel super clunky. Now, if you have a style of drawing where you just use harsh lines and maybe occasionally use tilt, you could probably get by with this. And limitation is definitely one of the biggest forms of finding new ways to be creative. So if you're looking for maybe a bit of a challenge and you're not looking to spend a lot of money on the official Apple Pencil, sure, this is a viable option. But if you're doing art every day on the iPad and you want to rely on the full functionality that you can get out of a stylus, unfortunately, nothing has come close to matching the Apple Pencil yet in terms of all the specs. But once again, if you're looking just to take notes or make quick doodles or anything like that, this is totally a viable option, and I would recommend this over the Apple Pencil, mostly for the price alone, because it comes out to this price, and that is way, way lower than the official Apple Pencil. And if you're not using the Apple Pencil to the fullest of its capabilities, there's not really much of a reason to own that over this one. So keep that in mind. So let me know in the comments below if a stylus like this is the one for you, or if you prefer the typical Apple Pencil over this and what you use it for. I'm always interested to know what the people in my community are using these devices for and the various apps and things like that. And if you haven't gotten enough of my face on this platform, you can always visit me over on twitch.tv/kagebonito Monday through Friday starting at 11 a.m. Los Angeles time. And I'm always streaming over there, having a good time. I also have a Discord linked below, as well as my Patreon, and also my Gumroad, where I recently released a new set of brushes exclusively for Clip Studio Paint, so check those out. And also, speaking of Patreon, thank you so much to my patrons this month for supporting me and the things that I do over here. You make these videos possible. Without you, I wouldn't be able to do this or half the things that I do. So thank you so much for all the support, and I can't appreciate it enough. So once again, let me know if a stylus like this interests you. Are you more into the styluses? Stylus. Are you into the stylus? Are you into the stylus like this? If you are, let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to hear about it. And if there are any other devices for the iPad or any other art tools you'd like me to review, please let me know in the comments below, and I'd love to look into it. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. All right, peace.